Time now for the press review with Sharon Gaffney. Good to see you, Sharon.
Hi, Delano.
You're starting out with, reaction to that debate last night here in France.
Yes, advantage Macron is how most of the French papers sum up that much anticipated TV clash. Bordeaux-based Sud-Ouest says while the incumbent was able to dissect or break down his election programme, Marine Le Pen often found herself swimming in difficult waters. For the conservative Le Figaro, meanwhile, Macron dominated the debate, displaying his experience and a mastery of his brief. The paper says his rival, though, was often on the defensive, but that overall Le Pen was more composed and serene than she had been during their last debate back in 2017. The two contenders agreed on nothing, the paper says, and were opposed on everything.
And what about left-leaning newspapers?
Well, Le Pen still isn't up to par, says Liberacion. Vague on several subjects. It says she wasn't even able to impose herself on what's been her favourite campaign theme, the rising cost of living. The paper says she struggled to keep her head above the water against an often arrogant and condescending adversary. For Le Monde, then, Macron broke from the strategy he'd been deploying ahead of the first round of voting. When he'd played it safe, he'd refused to debate with the other candidates. Choosing this time to go on the defensive, he managed to win the TV duel, the paper says, but not decisively.
And did this debate make it into the international press?
Yes, no knockout blows and no obvious winner, says the Financial Times. A master of detail, Macron put in an aggressive performance, attempting to pick holes in his rival's programme. He repeatedly interrupted her. He was sitting with his arms folded. The paper says Le Pen, for her part, was better prepared than back in 2017, coming across as more restrained, more moderate in her language, while never losing her temper or her poise. For Germany's Die Welt, right-wing populist Marine Le Pen used the debate to try to present herself as a stateswoman, it says, but was skillfully unmasked by her rival. The bottom line for the paper, Macron laid bare Le Pen's incompetence while she laid bare his arrogance. And, Delano, will the debate actually make a difference to how people are going to cast their ballots on Sunday? Probably not, says the Washington Post. While Macron didn't always succeed in his attempt to walk a fine line between rebutting criticism from Le Pen and not appearing to be outrightly dismissive of voters' concerns, he won't have been hurt by the performance, the paper says, but nor will he or Le Pen have been helped by the debate.
We'll see if they manage to get those people sitting on the fence. Now, you've also been looking at some reaction online.
Yes, and one moment in particular grabbed the attention of Twitter wags, and it may be one Marine Le Pen comes to regret. There it is. She whipped out a folded printout of a tweet she'd sent back in 2014 after Russia annexed Crimea, saying it proved her support for an independent Ukraine. The moment, Delano, set the Twitter sphere alight, with users superimposing their own words and images over Le Pen's printout. In this one, the tweet is replaced by a photo of her meeting Vladimir Putin in Moscow ahead of the 2017 presidential election. In this next one, possibly my favourite, Le Pen is reimagined with a bandana, brandishing a sign that says Manu, and that refers to an infamous moment back in 2018 when Macron took umbrage with the teenager who'd called him Manu, the president telling him, no, you must call me Monsieur le Président. Finally, from Le Pen, when can we talk about cats? This mocking the far-right leader's attempts to rebrand and soften her image over the last few years. Since we saw her in the last election, she's been posting photos of herself with her kittens. She's trained as a cat breeder. She's told interviewers about her love of furry felines. And speaking of cats, Delano, Emmanuel Macron didn't escape the Twitter wags either. There he is, depicted as a cat, slouched back, watching Le Pen with a look of what might be described as feline arrogance, and he has a large glass of wine there as well to help him through it. And another tweet captures a moment from the actual debate with Macron slouching in his seat.
It was all about the body language for him.
All about the body language. He's there listening to his rival, but he's got his head resting in his hand. He's looking bored. He's got his eyes closed. And finally, from me, Macron the scholar. It looks like he's studiously taking notes there, but what he's actually doing, according to this Twitter user, is scribbling down what looks like Champions League tactics for his much-loved football team, Marseille. An own goal, perhaps, for the president.
We'll see how it pans out on Sunday, all of this. Thank you very much for that, Sharon. Sharon Gaffney there with the press review. You can check out other editions of our press review on our website, france24.com.